Every 39 seconds, a cyber attack happens somewhere in the world. 3.5 million unfilled cybersecurity roles exist globally. The question is not if your organization will face an attack, it is whether your team is ready when it happens. What in front of you is Critical Range, an enterprise cybersecurity AI enabled training and exercise orchestration platform. When you log in via single sign on using your chosen identity provider with multi factor authentication enabled, let me show you what each persona will see. When you log into the platform as a participant, all that you'll see is this menu right here, which is the compete menu. Every other menu, such as build, manage, platform, etc., will not be visible. So let's just have a look at what in the compete menu. So when you log in to compete, this is what you'll see. This is your personalized dashboard. On your dashboard, you will see what are the active sessions that you're participating on. You'll get a perspective of what are the current challenges that you're playing with. AI is going to give recommendation as to what next challenges you should work on. It'll give you a skill radar perspective as to where you stand in terms of cybersecurity, covering crypto, forensics, ICS, OT, SCADA, infrastructure, networking, open source intelligence, and all these other technology areas. It'll give you a perspective of what your activity and engagement has been with the platform, as well as what badges you've earned up till now. It'll tell you what other recent events are imminent in the future and give you the option to participate in them. And it'll give you an understanding of the recent activity and the way you've interacted with the platform till now. You also get a perspective of active competition, what your streak has been in terms of how have you played, what is your level in terms of gamification, and it'll give you a skill coverage based upon the MITRE ATT&CK framework. Now, if you log in as a trainer, you see something different, a dashboard, which gives you a perspective of, it's the same platform, you've just signed in as a trainer and you get a perspective of students' progress monitoring, event management, content approval queue. And as you can see, if I look at the build menu, you can create your own exercises here. You have an option of creating your own different kind of exercises, which can be either CTF, training, attack defense CTF, or it could be live fire exercises or crisis simulation. You get a perspective of what all lab templates you've created, and you can create new lab templates here as well. Additionally, you have other options to create an event. Let's assume that you want to create an event like a CTF competition, a training event, a crisis simulation event, a cyber defense live fire exercise, or a King of the Hill or any sort of attack defend exercise. You'd be able to do that here as well. Now, if you were to log in as a platform admin, the screen changes for you. As opposed to seeing information around how to create content, you will be able to see information about what all clouds you've been able to create. Critical Range is a multi-cloud orchestration platform, and it gives you an understanding of, it gives you the ability to add more clouds into the platform. And when we say cloud, I'll give you an example of when you onboard a cloud, you can choose the name of the cloud, the display name, what kind of a cloud you want to add. In this scenario, we'll say we want to add a OpenStack cloud, and let's give it a different name, and you click next. It then asks you for username and password. You type something in, and then you specify the domain and other information. You click next. It then asks you what kind of a cloud you want to create, what's going to be the external provider VLAN for elastic IP addresses, what region, what endpoint URL, etc. You're going to specify that. And then you're going to specify what images you want, and any image that's got this tag is going to get pulled into from the OpenStack cloud. And once you've done this, you get to choose the size of the cloud. Is it demo, small, medium, large? You get to specify that. And let's say I choose demo and I enter cloud URL, click next. It then asks you what kind of IT infrastructure you want to create. Now, interestingly, you just have to enable this toggle, and just by enabling this toggle, you'll be able to deploy, say I want to deploy the full range, I will, at a click of a button, this will deploy a DNS, NTP, DHCP, a certificate authority function, a web proxy, a package repository, a TechAxe and Radius server, Active Directory services, email, chat, video conferencing, file sharing, Wikipedia, ticketing system, a CRM system, an HR portal, an ERP solution, along with that, full-fledged SIEM, IPS, IDS, network monitor, PCAP storage, threat intelligence, case management, a SOAR platform, as well as IT and OT SCADA equipments like SCADA server, PLC server, historian, and engineering workstation. And it also deploys a command and control system like Sliver and an attack automation platform like Caldera, fake websites, phishing platforms, traffic generators. All of this is added. Now, once you are done adding this, it takes a bit of time. It will deploy all these functions on the cloud. And once you've done that on a single page, you'll get a perspective as to what the health of the cloud is. And all these are real virtual machines that get deployed. It gives you a representation of a full-fledged IT enterprise architecture. All these VMs are deployed, and we've got agents deployed on these VMs. So you get a perspective as to what the health of the entire cloud is. All right. Additionally, as a platform admin, you have other capabilities as well. You get a perspective of how the cloud is performing. You get a health score of the cloud. You get an understanding of what the capacity of the cloud is and who the top consumers are. Additionally, if there are any physical resources like hardware in the loop resources, you get a perspective of what these hardware in the loop resources are. And you can define a new pool as well. You can create a new pool of resources, specify what the IP addressing schema is going to be, what the VLAN is going to be. You can specify that over here. You get a perspective of device health, and you get a general understanding of what the health of the entire platform is. You get an understanding of where you are in terms of compliance. You get a compliance reporting from a ICS compliance reporting, IEC 62443 perspective, as well as you get forensics data if there is a forensic session running in the background. At the same time, any virtual machine that's deployed or any Kubernetes VM that's deployed in this architecture, you get to have a command and control session established with those VMs, which means that for every VM, there is an ability for you to get streaming telemetry data from the virtual machine. It tells you how many packets are going in or how many packets are going out, what's the destination of the packet. You get to know what commands are being typed, what services are being enabled, what software is being installed, uninstalled, and you get a file browser view of what's happening inside the virtual machine. It's all encrypted, runs over a secure session. You can run commands, you can type in commands, and they fire on the virtual machine. You get a shell access to the virtual machine, and you also get to know how the virtual machine is performing at any given point of time. And on the downloads page, you basically have the option of downloading agents, which can be pushed into all these virtual machines. You also have the option of creating new images. What we have in our platform is an ability to add images into the catalog, where you can either choose an existing VM, you can choose an existing image that's running in the catalog. You can either import a VM or build a VM from scratch using an ISO boot, or you can do a volume that exists on the platform. You can use that volume and convert that into an image. You could possibly have a virtual machine running on the cloud, and you could integrate that with it, or you can start off with a template. These are recipes available to you. By leveraging these recipes, you can spin up, say, a Cisco ASAV or a CSR 1000 router of Cisco, or a Debian or a Kali, or different kinds of virtual machines that you can spin up here. Additionally, you can onboard new tenants. You can onboard a new tenant, and a tenant is functionally completely independent. One tenant cannot see what the other tenant is doing. We have separated the data from at all layers of the application. So you could potentially have two different tenants running on the platform, and they're managed completely differently by their different tenant IDs. So that's what this enables you to do. You can configure and send out broadcast notifications to all players, and you get an understanding of where the platform is from a governance standpoint. You understand where the readiness of a particular organization is or a particular tenant is. Additionally, you get an understanding of where you are as an organization from a CERT-IN standpoint and all these other guidelines which are there. and these are exportable as CSV files. Apart from that, you get an understanding of how the platform is doing from an analytics point of view, which all templates are being used, which all tenants are active at the moment. You get that perspective here. And the tenant analytics page gives you an understanding of where you are when mapped to the MITRE ATT&CK framework. There is extensive theming and branding options available. You can do branding at the platform level or at the tenant level or at the user level. And you can change your different themes. You can enable dark mode, light mode, and you can have your custom branding here. Your fav icons, your logo, your dark mode logo, etc. And you can change even the wallpaper of the platform. So it's got extended options there. And let's see, we've got an audit log here. It's very interesting that when you click on the audit log, you get to know who's made what changes to the platform. It comes in two flavors. It comes in as a regular audit log where you get basic understanding of what's going on. But the advanced audit log gives you an understanding that who made what change, what was the previous value, what's the current value, who changed it, from what IP address, all that visibility you get on this platform. There is an advanced IPAM engine that runs here and it carves out IP addresses. You don't have to create IP addresses. You don't have to carve out IP addresses when you're creating topologies. The platform does that for you and gives you visibility as to what IP address is being used where, and it gives you a network topology view of the IP addresses as well. This gives you an understanding of what the utilization of the platform has been over time, and it gives you an understanding when you need to upgrade the hardware or the infrastructure on which the platform runs. This gives you the ability to also get an understanding as to what IP addresses will be allocated whenever you spin up topologies in the platform. And it also gives you an understanding of how the current slots or the IP address slots are being utilized. It'll give you that perspective too. Any alerts that are there that have to be acknowledged, you'll see them here. And and also you can set up webhooks. If you want to integrate the application with your applications, it provides you the ability to add a webhook, and that way you can interact with the application programmatically. All right. And this is AI enabled, which means that you could integrate this with Cloud Haiku or Gemini, or you could integrate it with OpenAI. And the platform then leverages AI for multiple things. It leverages it for creating topologies, it leverages it for scoring, it leverages it for AI-based attack simulation. All that capability is built into the platform. You also then have the option of billing and chargeback and showback functionality, so that you know that what your bill entitles you to do on the platform. That's managed here. And this is me. If I want to interact with the platform, I can claim a handle, and if I choose this handle, I'll be known on the platform as Cyber Ninja 42. And that's what everybody else will see. All leaderboards, for example, would see me as Cyber Ninja 42. I can change my avatar and make it as something else. I can make those changes here. I can disable notifications, and I'd like to see, so I can customize how I'd like to be notified by the platform. As well as if I want to programmatically control the platform, I can generate my API keys here, and I can customize the platform based upon any theme that I want to use. Any run or any exercise that I play on the platform will generate SSH keys, and I can download those SSH keys here, and I can download a VPN client here. And by downloading a VPN client, I'll be able to get IP level access, say PuTTY or RDP or VNC level access to every single component that's running on the platform. All right, so let's have a look at what the platform has to offer to a participant. So I'll go back to the compete menu, and let me just show you what you'll see. So if you were to log into the Learn URL of the platform, you can see that there are options of CTFs, which are either guided CTF or Jeopardy style CTFs that are available to me. And I can choose any one of them, and I can launch these cybersecurity exercises over here. So let's say I want to deploy a topology. I'll perhaps just click a topology. I will say let me choose something that will come up quickly. Let's say I want to run Android Recon on Android Simulator. I'll click on Start a Lab. I'll say I'm ready to deploy. The lab will be available to you for 8 hours, and it gives you a perspective of how it maps to the MITRE ATT&CK framework. And I click on Deploy Lab. Now, once I've clicked on deploy lab, what ends up happening is it spins up real virtual machines and containers and routers and switches and firewalls and load balancers and all this. It starts deploying in the backend. And in a matter of a few minutes, the topology will be available to you to consume. Now, let's take an example of what a sample CTF looks like. Critical Range as a platform comes with 5 different modules or 5 different exercise families. Let's have a look at the first one. This is called CTF, and in CTF it comes in 2 flavors. One is a Jeopardy mode CTF, and the other one is guided CTF, which you can see on the left hand side of the screen here. And as you can see, you can sort it and filter it by category, by visibility, by team orientation. Is it meant for red team, blue team, purple team? Approximately how long will it take for the exercise to complete? You can do that. And so once you've started a lab, it shows here. This is where you see the lab running. I have a lab running right now, which is, let's have a look. This is a guided mode CTF. And as you can see, it's got a curriculum defined. It gives you a perspective of what you're going to learn. It tells you what the challenges are going to be, what are the objectives that you have to complete. Once you are able to complete it, how many XP points will you earn? And when you click here, it launches a window into the entire CyberRange infrastructure. You're logged into a jump host now, and in this jump host, you can access every single virtual machine that's running in the background, and it's completely sandboxed in the sense that even if there were a malware or that you detonate here, there's no way for it to get out of that network. But you have a way to get in via this jump host. Additionally, you could log into individual virtual machines. As you can see, there's a web target here, and this is you as the kill box or the attack VM, and you want to log in directly to that virtual machine that you have over there. So what you do is scroll down and click on SSH, and it's going to open an in-browser SSH session for you. And you're right now logged into that web server, and you can run commands inside this VM and make changes. And this, for all practical purposes, could be a Windows VM, a Windows Server, Windows Desktop, an Alpine Linux or Debian Linux, or a FreeBSD, or a Ubuntu, or a Red Hat, or a Fedora, or it could be a BIOS router, or a Cisco router. It could be a pfSense or an OpenSense device. All that's configurable and possible, as I'll show you in future sessions. And as you can see earlier, I did not choose a call sign. I did not choose a handle for myself, and it's automatically chosen a handle for me now, which is Phantom Wren is what it's chosen for me. And everybody in the platform will know me as Platform Wren now, because it's a concept of pseudonymity that we are trying to uphold here. At the same time, this is me playing solo. If I want, I could play it as an event as well. So as you can see, there are events available here, and you could create a new event using as a trainer or as an admin using Exercise Studio. And you participate in an event by entering the event over here. Creating an event takes less than 5 minutes. You go to the event builder, and let's say you want to choose a CTF event. You click next, you specify the name, you specify the duration, you specify whether you want the virtual machines to be powered on beforehand, you specify who the audience is going to be, and then you specify which template you want to choose for the event. You specify that. And then you choose which all challenges you want to expose in the event. You put a checkbox on those. You specify whether you want all participants in the event to share a common infrastructure similar to what you'll see in King of the Hill, or do you want individual people to participate, so you choose that as well. And that's it. Then you decide scoring, whether it's going to be a Jeopardy style, one challenge, multiple objectives, single flag kind of an event, or do you want it to be a guided event where challenges will unlock progressively, and some challenges may have multiple flags or objectives that have to be completed in sequence. How do you want scoring to happen? Do you want to give additional points to first blood, or do you want to give penalties for those for hints being taken? And you can specify leaderboard options. You can specify dynamic scoring, that as and when people start completing the challenge, the people who are laggers or lagging behind, should they get lesser scores or lesser marks for answering the same question as time progresses, or when other people have answered the same question in the past. Right? You specify that, and that's it. Once you're done, you simply click on launch event, and the event becomes available for people to consume. Now, let's say that I'm a participant and I'm participating in an event. So I'll go here, I'll choose this is a live fire challenge, and I log into the challenge. And you can see that tasks have been created for me, and there are reference documents that have been made available for me. And I've also got an option here for taking notes. And these notes become available to me for posterity. And then as I can see that I've got, this is the first task that I'm on right now is an 8-minute task. I've got maximum 75 questions, and I've gotten 25 out of 75 already. And if I were to complete all these 5 tasks, I can look at getting 500 XP points. I can open the jump post from here. So WCAG guidelines have been adhered to, which means that I can make the text smaller, bigger. I can increase and decrease the line spacing. I can decrease or increase the content width, and I can convert this into high contrast mode if I want. If I want higher real estate of the screen, I can minimize this or maximize this. All these options are available to me over here. And these are all portions or components of the exercise which I can participate in. Then I can take hints. And if I take hints, those marks will get deducted. If I don't know the answer, I can take in help from artificial intelligence and it's going to give me answers. I can also discuss this with other colleagues or other participants, and I can mark it as a spoiler if I've already solved the CTF. That's available here as well. So that's what a CTF event looks like. And then once I've done creating a CTF, I could even make a write-up about the CTF, and I can say, this is how I solved it, this is what I learned about it. So you start contributing to the community on this page. Battle stations. This is our next exercise family. This is a live fire event. Battle stations is our cyber defense exercise engine, which means that this is real infrastructure, real attacks, real defense. Blue teams defend enterprise networks, red teams will attack enterprise networks, and white teams will evaluate. This is as close to real combat as training can get. And you get a perspective of where you are from a scoring perspective, team 1 versus team 2, team 3, and team 4. And if you're getting dinged on marks, you get a perspective on why am I getting the score? Is it because of technical inadequacies? Is it because of my incident response capabilities and how I communicated with legal or communications, and if it's because of my strategic oversight? So I get that perspective here, as well as where am I from a services uptime point of view, because I'm being measured on SLA. Am I able to maintain operational stability under sustained cyber attack? That's what I get to see here. And also, since I'm allowed to, in the persona that I've logged in with, I can participate in these injects, and somebody's given an inject to me, and I can submit my response to the inject over here. And if I have to submit an incident report, I can come here and submit an incident report about what the incident was. This is all marked down, so it gets previewed very beautifully. For example, this is H1 content, body, and then you've got H2 content, text, right? And it gets formatted as a preview option here, and then you can specify multiple indications of compromises, which MITRE ATT&CK framework techniques does it fall under, and you can upload evidence as well for the incident report. Have a look at this. This is interesting. This is the topology view of what you're defending as a defender against the adversary, and you can make this into a 2.5 dimensional kind of a view where you understand what the topology is and what the topology looks like. As you can see here, you've got 4 different enclaves. You've got 10.1.0.0, 10.2.0.0, 10.3.0.0, and 10.4.0.0. And they've got their own individual infrastructures to protect and defend against. So that's what the topology view is. And this is the after action report page, where you get a timeline reconstruction of what happened from beginning till now. How is every team doing? How did every team perform? What was the attack coverage when mapped to the MITRE ATT&CK framework? And every single team who's participating, where are they from a technical, strategic, legal, compliance, and strategic point of view? And what key findings were detected? You could leverage AI here to generate an AI-powered narrative of the entire summary of the exercise, including key events, team performance highlights, and recommended improvements, as well as if you have any recommendations to offer to the platform admin, you can do that here as well. And you can export the after-action report in the form of a PDF file. Now let's have a look at war games. This is War Games. So, War Games is about attack and defend. This is the most advanced competitive format of cybersecurity simulation and training. Every team simultaneously attacks other teams' services while defending their own. This is a round based play where you have automated flag rotation as well as checker verification and SLA scoring. This is the format that's used in the DEF CON CTF as well as NATO platforms. And as you can see, this is the event dashboard and it shows you what the state of this round is. Currently, I think we are progressing in rounds, and on this round, you are able to see the time remaining, the total objectives. You get a perspective of what the scorecard is. This is how every single team is doing. Team Agni, Team Vajra, Team Trishul, how are they performing? Are they able to keep their SLAs up or not? Are they losing points on people stealing their flags or not? Are they gaining points on stealing other people's flags or not? So it gives you that perspective. And this is a services heat map that tracks every single team services. And here we've got Vajra Hackers, Trishul Cyber, and Agni Digital. So the question is that can you keep your services running while taking down others? That's what the objective is. So you think like a hacker, you think like an adversary, and you also think like the defender. That's why it's the most advanced and most comprehensive way of forging better defenders in your organization. This is the attack console. Now, the attack console is where teams submit captured flags from opponent services, and the defense monitor here shows incoming attacks in real time. Right. So you get to know when attacks are happening in real time, and you have the option of packet analysis, individual traffic captures, and at the same time, you have the option of alert correlation and anomaly detection by virtue of the traffic analysis. We're not seeing anything here because the traffic analysis is not running live, but you get to see that here is a full traffic analysis with PCAP capture per round. And the scoreboard tracks all three dimensions. It tracks the attack points, it tracks the attack points for successful exploits, it tracks defend points for maintaining service availability, and it also tracks SLA scores for service uptime. Now, the game controller, the green teamer, so to say, manages round progression. They can inject red team waves for additional pressure. They can start the game, stop the game, end the game. They can send out announcements over here. They can override scores, and they monitor overall exercise health. There are 3 sub-modes available in a war game exercise. You could either run it as a classic attack defense CTF, or it could be King of the Hill. And the third one is where you're fighting against an AI. Now, in a scenario wherein you're participating with an AI, the AI is the adversary and you are the defender. And based upon your capabilities, the attack surface that you protected or left unprotected, the TTPs are going to change. The techniques, tactics, and procedures of what the AI is going to use is going to change. And it's very pertinent to the world where we are in right now, where a lot of attackers are leveraging AI to launch attacks. All right, so that's about a little bit about war games. Let's now talk about courses. Now, courses it's like e-learning courses with hands-on labs built into them. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to come here to the Learn tab. I'm going to click on courses, and I have these beautiful curated courses that I could put in my learning path. And whatever courses I put here, they become available to participants. And I can choose a course from the catalog. Let's say I choose web application security. And if I were to enroll in this course, I get this entire curriculum, right? These are the individual topics of the curriculum. And once you complete this, you get a very beautiful certificate with a QR code. It's verifiable on the website, on the portal, that you've earned this certificate. So if I were to continue, and these are various modules that I could have here, I could launch a lab. And once I launch a lab, it's going to spin it up in the background, and it's available to me over here on the labs page. Let me go back to the Learning Hub again and go back to courses. A course is basically structured content. It combines It combines reading material, hands-on labs, quizzes, and video content. So you can have video content available here as well that the user can go through and participate in the videos. Let's see if I can find a course which has any videos in it. Okay, one second. I guess no course has been created with videos in it, but there is an option for you to upload a video, or you can point it to publicly available videos as well. On completion, as I said, you get verifiable digital certificates issued using HMAC verification. They're shareable on LinkedIn. And the My Progress page aggregates all your training. This page over here, it aggregates all your trainings and it gives you a perspective of where you are from a learning point of view across all families: crisis simulation, IT, OT, SCADA, attack, defend, live fire, etc. And if you want to customize the page, you can go to My Dashboards and create your own dashboard. You can add a new widget. Say you want to add multiple widgets to your dashboard. That's all customizable here. And that's it about courses. Now let's talk about crisis simulation. This is interesting. So crisis simulation is unique to Critical Range. I don't believe any competition offers this. These are crisis drills. These are AI-powered, branching, and decision-based scenarios designed for senior leadership. This tests critical thinking, strategic judgment, and of course, technical skills. So we've already built 30 pre-built scenarios spanning ransomware, data breaches, supply chain compromises, critical infrastructure incidents, insider threats, and much more. And each one of them is tailored to a specific industry vertical, right? Think banking, defense, healthcare, energy, and whatnot. So let's take an example of hospital ransomware. In fact, let me pick up a new one. Just one second. Let me pick up one that I haven't played up till now. Let's choose, all right, manufacturing, OT, ransomware, supply chain disruption. So it's telling you that the scenario that you're in as senior leadership is that ransomware crosses IT-OT boundary at an automotive parts manufacturer. 3 production lines have gone down and you're losing 50 million per day as a supply chain impact to major OEMs. What do you want to do? Do you want to play it as a practice match, as a solo event, or do you want it as an event where you're competing with other individuals? This could be a timed and scored event, or it could be a 15-minute micro drill where we are judging you on your ability to take quick decisions which could impact millions. Which role do you want to play? Do you want to be CISO? Then other players are going to be NPCs, which are non-player characters. The non-player characters played by artificial intelligence. So you can choose any one of these roles that you want to choose. So let's say I choose CISO and I click on Start Micro Drill. It gives you an understanding that there have been multiple failures and it looks like a PLC malfunctions happen somewhere. And it looks like there is a ransomware that's crossed from the IT boundary to the OT boundary, all right? And this is what the current plant status is. And then it asks you a question. It says, awaiting direction on plant-wide shutdown posture and customer notification. Now, you can run this in either learning mode or testing mode. We're running this in learning mode. So we're giving the user the understanding that whatever action they take here is going to impact something. They say that there aren't any black and white decisions, there are only gray decisions. So what does he do? What does the CISO do? What action does he take? Does he do a full plant shutdown wherein he halts all 4 production lines? He'll get marks on communication, decision quality, safety and compliance, but he'll get dinged on operational resilience and supply chain management. Similarly, he could take another option where he's going to score everywhere. So let's say I choose this option, full plant shutdown. We have a very aggressive CISO with us, and he clicks and submit. And as you can see, the scores have gotten impacted. Now we could have hidden all of this. This is in learning mode. So we could have hidden all of this in actual micro drill mode to see how he impacts, what's he going to do. And these eventual consequences of his action would be hidden. And this entire rubrics of scoring is something that you can customize as a trainer or as a backend administrator. That kind of, this enables you as an exercise facilitator to monitor all participants from a mission command center. So this is me as a mission administrator, and I can get perspective as to what you are doing currently. How is the HMI behaving at the moment? How is the PLC performing? Any action that you take its consequence is going to get reflected over here. And that's what makes it powerful. Not only that, you could actually come here and go into observe mode. And in observe mode, you are able to see what's happening live on the virtual machine. You get VLC level access to the virtual machine, where you can see how the mouse is moving and whatever is happening. You get a complete perspective of what's happening there. And also, as a backend administrator, you can take a console of the virtual machine, you can shut it down, reboot, stop, reset to factory defaults. All those options are available to you as the backend admin. By the way, did I tell you that the platform is multilingual? It supports Hindi and English today. And in the future, if you want, it can support any native languages as well. So that capability is inbuilt. Localization capabilities are inbuilt into the platform. Let's see. Now, let's talk about content creation and infrastructure, right? Let's have a look at how you create content in the platform. This is what content looks like. Let's choose a fairly complicated topology to help you understanding what is possible here. I can see this one's got 3 virtual machines. This one's got 4 virtual machines. So let's have a look at this one, right? So when you create a topology or when you create a lab template, you get an understanding of how many networks, virtual machines, challenges, total points, hints, and rules there are. You get that perspective here. And you get an entire understanding of the entire lab blueprint. You get a topology view of the lab blueprint in terms of the head-end device, the jump host, and the individual roles or individual virtual machines under it. And what are the challenges that you're asking and what every challenge is worth in terms of points. And then if you want, you can export this topology and this entire template so it can be re-uploaded into another instance of the critical range platform. And if you were to do this yourself, you could leverage a module that we built into the platform called Exercise Studio. In Exercise Studio, you can create topology items. You can enable something that we call the Universal Guest Agent. The Universal Guest Agent is an agent that cannot be killed, or maybe it can, but it's very tough to kill it because it runs on every single virtual machine in the infrastructure, and it's got multiple paths by which it can call back home. So you can enable that here. You can specify what is the operating system of the virtual machine going to be, what's the t-shirt size going to be, what role offset are you going to give. So this is 192.168.0.0/24 as a subnet. And if it's the 10th octet, it'll be 192.168.0.10. But if it's a /26, it'll be different. If it's a /25, it'll be different. So this is the nth octet that will be used that you can suggest here. And this entire topology then can be represented in a very visual format, in a 3-dimensional format. So you get to know how these devices are connected and talking to each other. And as you can see, just by enabling the 3D mode, I get to know that, oh, there we go. There's a BIOS head-end router over here. And then you've got a /25 network that's been carved. Inside the /25 network, there exists a CI server, a jump host, an artifact registry, and an attacker workstation. So you get that visibility by clicking on 3D mode. And you can, if you're feeling really geeky, you could actually modify the JSON file that represents the entire topology. So the Exercise Studio, what you're seeing in front of you is where content authors built lab templates. It enables you to drag and drop elements. So you can actually come here and drag and drop individual virtual machines onto the template. And you can define servers, workstations, routers, firewalls. You can assign OS images, network connections, and post-provisioning scripts. This maps directly to MITRE ATT&CK techniques and NICE framework skills. And there is no infrastructure expertise required. You don't have to be a certified networking expert to create these topologies. And at the same time, we have an option called an AI builder. So if I were to show you the AI builder, let me just launch it. Give me one moment, please. This is the AI builder where you describe exercise templates using natural language. You describe your scenario and the AI creates the network topology, the VM roles, the scripts, the challenge structure, and then you could then go to, and this is simple natural language, create an advanced SQL injection lab with 5 challenges. or build a zero trust lab with students where students deploy microsegmentation, right? It leverages your AI credits that you define in the AI agents here. Oops, sorry, AI services. And it leverages this API key to do the deployment for you. And you can add either Anthropic or OpenAI or Azure OpenAI as credits that will become available and will get consumed when you use the AI builder. Once the AI builder does its job, its topology becomes available to you here, right? You could either create a manual topology or the AI can create the topology for you, and you can see what the topology looks like. And once you're satisfied with it, or if you want to test the topology, you do a test launch. You specify what is the target cloud going to be, what is the duration, and all that. And you click on launch, and it launches the topology in the backend cloud. All right. Now, I'd like to talk about scripts for a minute. Now, scripts are important because let me switch to another tenant to show you what scripts are. Yeah. So I created the scripts in another tenant. So as you can see, these are scripts that you deploy, that you specify in a lab template, and they actually fire when you create a lab topology, right? So these are, for example, this script here is responsible for configuring PostgreSQL. And there are multiple versions. I could download the script, I could view the script, I could deprecate it. All these options are available to me. Let's see. Yeah, so it's got these options of creating scripts, and the scripts can be in two categories. It can be either a provisioning script or a primer script. A provisioning script is something that you typically use when you want to install or uninstall software. A primer script is something that you typically do when you want to change settings, inject vulnerabilities, expose indications of compromise. The third script that we have is something that we call a health script. Now, a health script is typically meant to check whether a certain service is working or not working, right? So that's an example of a health script, right? It returns exit 0 as healthy. If in this scenario, whether SSH works or not, it's going to return healthy or not healthy. So that's what a health script is. And let's see, a primer script is, for example, this is MySQL primer. As you can see, it's a very simple script that executes a certain flag. It injects a certain flag into a MySQL database. So that's what this primer script does. The Juicebox is it installs the Juicebox vulnerable application onto the platform. So that's what this shows you. Yeah, so that's what scripts are. It enables you to modify and customize infrastructure in your platform. All right, you've seen 5 different exercise families. There is CTF challenges over here. There are CTF challenges which are meant for skill building. You've then seen battle stations which are aimed at testing your live fire defense capabilities. You've then had a chance to look at war games, and war games are exercise components for adversarial combat. You've also seen courses which are structured curriculum, and then you've seen crisis simulation, which is for leadership readiness. Plus, there's a whole bunch of analytics and after action reports and dashboards and reports that prove ROI, return on investment, as well as content tools that are available to empower your trainers and enterprise administration that scales. This is all 100% browser based. You don't require VPN, but VPN is available to you. You don't require PuTTY, but that's available to you if you want to connect if you want direct IP access. Otherwise, everything's accessible right from the web browser. You could run this from an iPad if you wanted to. And what makes Critical Range unique is that this is the only platform with all 5 exercise types. Complete enterprise deployments deployed in 15 minutes, not just virtual machines, but Active Directory, SIEM stacks, network topologies with routers and switches, and firewalls and load balancers and IPS and IDS, etc. This is 100% sovereign deployed. It can be deployed on your infrastructure. It runs in air-gapped environments. And if you have CUDA cores available to you on your air-gapped environment, we could integrate it with that AI. It integrates with Llama as well. So it runs completely 100% offline at feature parity with what you'd get with an online version of the platform. And you'll get it at a fraction of the cost as compared to foreign alternatives. Are you ready to see Critical Range for your organization? I suggest that you request a hands-on workshop tailored to your sector, to your vertical, a technical proof of concept, and a custom cybersecurity assessment. I thank you for watching.